We're going to talk about ionic nomenclature. And the only thing nomenclature means is it just means naming system. So basically we're going to learn in this video how to write formulas and name ionic compounds. So for writing formulas, the goal is to balance the charge. Our overall charge on any compound is going to be 0. And the subscripts are going to be used to show the number of atoms in a compound, and that's going to be super important. So what you're going to do, you're going to use these 3 steps. You're going to look up the charge of an ion, and you're going to need your periodic table to do that. I'll show you how to do that. Number 2, the positive ion always is going to come first. That's super important to remember. And the charges are going to switch places and become the subscripts of the opposite ion. And I'll show you how to do that.
So on your periodic table, up here at the top, they give you the most common charge for that ion. That doesn't mean that's always the charge, but it is the most common. If you look at an individual box, you'll see all the possible charges for that atom. Okay. And then remember, the transition metals, those are going to have varying charges. Sometimes they'll be one thing, sometimes they'll be the other thing. And we'll talk about that specifically in another video. But we just want to get down the basics right now. So your steps for writing formulas, you look up the charge of the ion. So for the very first one, we have aluminum. Aluminum is right here. The top of the column, it has a +3. So that's going to be the charge. For chlorine is right here. If you go to the top of the column, it's -1. So the way that you're going to do this, you're always going to write the positive ion first. So the positive one is aluminum. And the oxidation number of the opposite ion is going to tell you how many you have. So for aluminum, I know I'm going to have 1. Now some people would ask, well, why don't we have -1? Well, remember, you can't have negative amounts of atoms. So that charge is just going to tell you how many. So for chlorine, we're going to have 3. So you don't write any positives or negatives, and you don't write the ones. So let's try magnesium. Magnesium's right here, +2. And bromine is over here, that's -1. So again, we're going to write the positive one first. We're going to look over here, that's going to tell us how many we have. We have 1, and then we're going to write the -1, and we're going to look over here, and that's how many we have. Now, what if I have the formula? What does that tell me? Well, that tells me what atoms we have. So Al would be aluminum, and O would be oxygen. And if you don't know those off the top of your head yet, look them up. But this is why we have element quizzes, is to make our lives just so much easier. Now remember, the 2 next to the aluminum told us the charge of oxygen. And I know that that's negative because the -1 comes second. And then the 3 next to the oxygen tells us the charge of aluminum. I know that's positive because it came first. Let's try another one. So Na is sodium. I know it's positive, it came first, and then O again is oxygen. So we have the 2 with the sodium, so that means the oxygen is -2 and the sodium is +1 because there's 1 oxygen. Okay, I'm going to stop the video now. I'm going to make a separate video that gives you more practice.